Welcome on the Didactic Fridays. Today we are guesting Torbjörn Netland from the ETH Zurich. Hi, and today we are going to talk about the educational videos using AI. So generally AI as a learning tool and how AI are different. Can we use AI in education and how they are different from the regular speakers, and is it effective enough to use AI? So those questions are the questions that we will try to answer during this meeting. Okay, so the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Bartolome. Thanks everybody for joining. Yeah, basically that's what we're going to figure out. We done some experiments at our end to try to figure out if we can replace ourselves with AI. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to hold a short presentation, 20 minutes or roughly or something like this, and then I'm happy to engage a discussion with you. So the title of this talk is Auto-Generation of Educational Videos Using Generative AI. Experimental evidence of learning experience and outcomes. And it's a part of a project that we've been doing internally here in my group at ETH, together with some of my colleagues. So the question that we're asking is basically, can generative AI replace the lecturer? So that's a big question. And maybe you hope that the answer is no, but we will figure out a little bit later. Perhaps it's yes, or perhaps it's something in between. The research objectives that we have in this study is to explore basically the opportunities in using AI to create video-based teaching materials in our field, which is operations management. And then test the learning experience that the students have consuming such AI-generated video material and the learning outcome of human-generated versus AI-generated teaching video. So we split the learning experience, which is basically how well do the students perceive the material, do they enjoy being lectured by it, and outcome, which is basically what do you learn. And for this, we put up two hypotheses. And the first one is that the human-generated teaching videos increase student learning experience compared to AI-generated videos. So we do believe that human-generated materials probably is better received by the students because it's by a human, they can relate, maybe you can use jokes, human body language, and a few things that makes the students just enjoy the experience a little bit more if the videos are made by real humans and also show real humans. We also think, maybe it's bias, maybe it's a hope, that human-generated videos will increase learning outcomes better than AI-generated videos. These are hypotheses before we start the study. And we also pre-registered this hypothesis in a conference abstract that we wrote before we did the study. But how do we create these videos? So that's basically a few of the things I'm going to show to you now. Our starting point was actually COVID-19 when we created short educational videos for our students. Back then, I was basically sitting here in my office as I do now. If I now turn my camera a little bit, you will be able to see a green screen over there. That's the same that is on the slide that you're watching. And just made this in my office, short videos. And then I had an assistant, Katalin Tesh, that you can see in this picture as well, curating these videos into 5 to 10 minutes long educational videos in our field. So since we made them ourselves, they were relatively cheap to make. We produced these videos in 1 to 2 weeks for each video. Maybe we spent 600 francs, 600 euro roughly on the equipment that we need. So this is something that every lecturer can basically do. And then we used Adobe Premiere, which do require some skills to manage. This is why I gave that to Katalin Tesh, to kind of stitch the videos together. So truly human-made videos. I made the script, we made the recording, and we made the video. And we made many of these videos. So I thought maybe I can just show to you a short video we made about the videos that we made. We put all of them on YouTube as well, as you can see here.
Hi there. Welcome to our channel on production and operations management. We post lecture videos on operational excellence, smart manufacturing, and operations management in general. Enjoy.
I hope you have sound, Bartolomé. If not, please let me know.
Yes, sound.
So really just to give
again, welcome to production and operations management.
Really just to give you a short impression of the videos we made during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we made roughly 50 of these videos, and we've also put all of them on YouTube. Okay, so I show this to you so you have an understanding of the material we started with. Because we need something to compare AI generated videos with, of course. And we basically what we did then is that we selected 4 of the videos that we had already made, and you can see a few of them here. And we wanted to select videos that were different in content. So some may be more theoretical, some more tool-based or technical. We would like to have 4 different speakers, so it's not too much bias towards the human speaker in the video. And basically a selection of 4 videos that we wanted to also then generate completely with AI, and that's what we did. So we selected 4 videos with representative topics with different teachers. The content of them was a workplace organization tool that is called 5S, a Russian problem-solving technique called TRIS, just-in-time and Kanban from Toyota Production System and Lean, if you're familiar with this, and economic order quantity, a more mathematical type of technique. Okay, so for all of these topics, you understand that we had already these 4 completely human-made videos. Even before ChatGPT was released, we made this completely human-made. And you can also understand when we made these videos, it took quite some time. I need to write the script, need to record myself, we need to stitch it together, we need to go back and forth, create background material, B-roll material. And basically, maybe we used 2 weeks for each video, of which maybe 3, 4, 5 full working days at least. It's quite time intensive, but still possible to do. Now with AI, you can make this much faster and much simpler, right? And here's what we did. We did this in February last year. So the only tool we had access to back then was ChatGPT 3.5. So remember, everything I show you now is made with ChatGPT 3.5 type capabilities. Just 1 year later, the capabilities are much stronger already. We use ChatGPT to make a video script. For example, you can see in the box here how we prompted ChatGPT quite simply to, for example, can you write the script for about 5-minute educational video for YouTube about economic order quantity, EOQ. And then all of you know how ChatGPT works. It starts to generate text and suggestions. And you can also see what ChatGPT did was that it suggested some intro music. Then there's a host, the person who said, welcome back to our educational video and blah, blah, blah. And then it also suggests animations to add. Sometimes you can also prompt it, please suggest kind of visual materials to go along with the video. So it wasn't long, there were not long prompts, and we did not prompt a lot. And we get these educational scripts quite fast. Just in order to make sure it's not nonsense, I read through it. And that's, of course, there's still a little bit of that human element that you want to check that it's not saying things that isn't wrong. But in fact, and maybe to my surprise, most of this material for each of the 4 videos was quite accurate. And why? Because internet is actually quite full of descriptions of these 4 concepts and other concepts. So if you take the average of it, it's actually pretty good. We also use other generative AI software like Midjourney and DALL-E to generate the visuals, often as suggested by ChatGPT. For example, you could say for economic quantity, have a photo here of inventory. And then we just ask Midjourney for a photo of inventory and it will create it for us. I'll show you afterwards how it looks like. Now, importantly, to create videos out of this, we used a tool called HeyGen. Back then it was Movio, and then HeyGen bought them. And what they do is that they create teaching avatars, and they also create audio clips, or the voice you need. And basically what we did here is that we uploaded just a photo of the human teacher, so we get an avatar that's not too far away from a human speaker. You can imagine it's done in a minute. You just upload the photo. And then Katalin Tesh stitched all together using Adobe Premiere. So here you can see there's still a human element of putting it together. It doesn't have to be, because there is software that can create videos from A to Z, and we also tried it, but it wasn't really good enough to be used in an educational setting. So still, although we use all these generative AI tools, we had a human in the loop making sure the final product was good. Importantly, the production time for each of these videos, less than 4 hours. Okay, so it's much faster than creating everything manually. Now I want to show to you how these things look like. So let me first show you a human-made video. This is Daniel Kwasniczka, one of our doctoral students in my group.
Seiri, Seitan, Saizo, Saiketsu, Shizuka. Is there anyone who can guess what we're doing today? Correct, we're learning Japanese. Well, not really the language, but a workplace organization methodology derived from the Japanese terms beginning with the letter S. It is used to create an...
Okay, I'm not going to show you the whole video, so of course you can watch online, but you already get an impression. This is a human speaker using human body language, using kind of a little bit of a joke and stuff like this. To teach 5S in this case, which is again a workplace organization mechanism. And you can see everything that you can see at the background. Here's a joke that Daniel maybe.
The script of this video.
2 hours later.
Oh, there it is.
So you can really see the human element here. It's a very well done video by Daniel. Students like it. It's humor, it's easy. And all the things you can see in the background are videos and materials that we that are kind of real recordings that we have added. Now let's look at the completely AI generated video. As you know, it has still been stitched together by human, but all the material, everything that is said in this video, including the avatar and the audio, is generated.
Welcome to our video on 5S. Today, we're going to explore how organizations can use the 5S method, Seiri, Seitan, Saizo, Saiketsu.
Okay, you already got an impression. It doesn't look too different from Daniel, and the things he says is actually pretty similar too. We can just go a little bit in here, and here you can see AI generated photo. That cup looks maybe a little bit strange, but it's a point to show that you have to clean up your workplace in this example. And you can see all these photos, all of this is AI generated. All is generated by AI.
Establishing procedures and guidelines for maintaining the organization and cleanliness of the work area.
So basically, all the thing he says makes sense. I checked this, it makes sense. What doesn't really make sense here, you can see the video photos here are generated by AI. At that point in time, couldn't really write well text and stuff like this. But I think you get an impression that this video isn't that far away from the human-made video. Let's look at the next speaker. This is Sven Januszek, and as maybe you can pick up from his name, he has Polish roots. He has graduated from my chair a couple of years back, and this is the video he made about just-in-time and Kanban.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this video lecture in which I will introduce you to the concepts of just-in-time and Kanban. What is just-in-time production? As its name already suggests, the just-in-time principle is about producing and procuring.
Again, you get the idea, human speaker, human made, and what Sven did brilliantly is that he also introduced an example that he made himself. Here you can see this is a completely human-generated example. Sven made this. He used a PowerPoint to create and explain exactly the concept that he wanted to get across.
Two Kanban cards telling us that we need to order new parts. Interesting. So what do we do? Well, we tell our...
Okay, again, not going to show you all the details, but you get the feeling. Really human-generated. It's not perfect. But it's man-made. Let's look at what the AI was able to do. What first you can see is that the picture of Sven, the digital Sven, is actually remarkably close to him.
Welcome to our manufacturing plant. Today, we're going to explore how we produce goods efficiently and without waste, thanks to the just-in-time, JIT, and Kanban system. Kanban is a visual management system that helps us...
Again, you see it doesn't look exactly like a human. Remember, this is 1 year ago. Today you get this in a better quality, but you get an idea. It's not far away. It's pretty good. Some awkward movements and stuff, but otherwise it's pretty good.
And increasing efficiency by producing goods only in response to customer demand.
The important thing is really to note that what he's saying, the content of what he's trying to teaching is pretty accurate. Okay.
Hi everybody.
And then we had Dmitry, just so you maybe have an impression of him as well.
Today we'll talk about trees. Trees comes from a Russian phrase "теория решения изобретательских задач," which means the theory of inventive problem solving. The origins of
and again, here's the digital AI avatar of Dmitry.
This video on trees. Today, we're going to dive into the world of innovation and explore one of the most powerful methodologies for problem solving and creativity.
And you can see it still looks the same, but again, importantly, what he says makes sense.
It also looks at the...
Here's the last video, just so you've seen that too. This is a human video made by myself.
This is a very brief introduction to the economic order quantity model. The economic order quantity model, EOQ, was introduced in 1913 by Ford Harris in his work, How Many Parts to Make at Once. Only consider two costs. First, the order cost is a fixed...
And again, this is a more mathematical concept, so quite different from some of the concepts that taught before. And let's see if the AI avatar can also do this topic.
Have you ever wondered how businesses determine how much inventory to order at a time? One common method is economic order quantity, or EOQ. In this video, we'll explore what EOQ is and how it can help businesses optimize their inventory management, which can lead to excess inventory.
So again, it's pretty good. And here, this formula generative AI was not able to create. So this one we had to put in there because what it put was just nonsense, and we needed to make sure it didn't teach nonsense. And again, you can see some of the illustration generated that they are okay, but not perfect. But all of these are completely generated by AI. Yeah. Okay. So that was basically the 4 videos. So now you've understood. We had completely human-made videos, 4 or 5 minutes long, about a very specific concept. And then we wanted to see if AI could do this just as well as we could. So what we did then is that we engaged an online experiment. We used Amazon MTurk, which some of you may be familiar with. It's a gig working platform where you can basically pay people in different corners of the world to conduct an experiment for you online. And we chose American citizens and a few other criteria, and basically recruited, as you can see here, roughly 500 plus participants to our experiment. So we split them into 2 groups. The first participants in the first group first got the video 1 made by human. Participant in group 2 got the same content but generated by AI. And for video 2, it was opposite. Okay, so we really wanted as well for all participants to get access to both videos, human-made and AI videos, because it would be the only way to see if they themselves notice difference between them. And then by doing it like this, we can also basically just split them again when we do our analysis into the AI-generated videos towards the human-generated videos and see what the people think about in regard to learning experience. So that's why after each video, there was a short survey for the participants to fill out. Did you like this video? Did you feel you learned something? And so on and so on. Learning experience. And at the very end of the 4 videos, which are very short, you can imagine the whole experiments take half an hour, they had to do an exam. And this exam is very close to the exam that I give in my normal course here at ETH, but of course a shorter version. And it was important to notice that the exam, the content of the exam was covered, we checked, both by the AI and the human-generated videos. So this was the experiment we did. Here are some more details if you're interested. There were 80 survey questions to be answered after each video, 8, on a Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree, quite classic. And then for the exam, there were 12 multiple choice questions. That means 3 questions per content. You remember we had 4 videos. We did implement some attention checks and things, which is a problem sometimes on these online platforms that people just really click through to get the money, because there's a small kind of salary connected to fulfilling these experiments. And for this, we did implement this attention check, like, for example, the letter after A in the alphabet is B. And if you strongly disagree with that, we will probably disregard your answer. Or if you read this, choose score 2, of which you actually need to choose score 2 in order to be included and actually also to get paid by the platform. Then we added some controls as well. Just, of course, whether or not they are very familiar with the topics may matter. If they are very familiar with AI and those type of tools, their learning preferences, if it's visuals, reading, hearing, or doing, and their educational degree. Yeah, here are these 8 questions. I don't need to go into detail here, but just so you see the type of questions that we usually ask. Like, for example, the content of the video was easy to understand. The lecturer provided enough details. The video was engaging. The video was interesting. So these are learning experience type measures. And here are the controls, which I basically already covered. But you can also see we added a few more attention check type questions, like I paid attention when answering the questions in the survey. So we could, by adding these questions, we could also get rid of a few of the not so high quality answers of participants. Here's examples of the exam questions, so just so you've seen them. Very classic multiple choice questions, like, for example, what does the economic order quantity formula calculate? And if you got the AI video or the human-generated video, you should be able to answer. So we're really trying to check if they learned that better by the human video or by the AI video. Okay. So that comes to the conclusion. So now the question to you is, what do you think? What's better, AI-generated videos or human-generated videos? Bartolomé, why don't you answer?
Yeah, I already know the answer because we already met and we were talking about that. So I think I will skip, but maybe people would like to answer this question on the chat. But meanwhile, when we can wait for the answers and for their opinion, I have a few questions. You have mentioned that you already made over 50 videos. How much time did you spend on all of that? Because you mentioned that, do I remember that correctly? Yeah. 5 or 10 minutes video is like 20 minutes video is 3-4 days.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Now then you can do the math yourself. But so these human-generated videos were made during the pandemic, and if we all go back, we remember how all of us, really pivoted to transfer or teaching to online, right? So I mean, many of us did a lot of changes to the curricula. So it was mostly during this time, and at that time, I figured I just didn't want to do a talking head type, just do the same as in the classroom, but sit in Zoom, because I really just didn't like that. And so I used the time to make the videos and give the students the videos, and then we met online only for discussion. So, okay, so it's, I mean, I chose to use my time to create these videos. Now, of course, that was quite some time investment, but after all, COVID-19 was quite special. Yeah. So
Yeah,
did you get the answers, Bartolomé? Or
so the first answer is the human. So probably that's what people think.
that was our hypothesis too. Huh? Humans are better in everything. Well, okay, should we look at the results then? Remember, this is from our study, huh? And it has its limitations and its strengths. It's a pretty well designed study, I would say, but of course it's all from mTurk. And here you can see the results for the learning experience. So that's how well they enjoyed the videos. If you want, it's about perceived effectiveness, because they enjoy it. They think they will learn much. Without going into detail on all the results, you can see this is the AI generated video compared to the baseline, which is the human video. And whoever suggested the human is a little bit better or have an advantage is correct. So we find that the AI generated video is perceived to be a little bit less enjoyable than the human generated videos. Okay, but also not so much. 0.16 is quite weak, yes, it's statistically significant, but it's not really so critical. Okay, let's look at the next one. Learning outcome. This is the exam. So after being treated to either AI generated videos or human generated videos, how do you do on exam, which is unfortunately kind of the ultimate measure of success in many universities, right? And here we can say that the AI generated video compared to the human generated video, non-significant and very, very, very small. What does it mean? There were no statistical proof that human generated videos make students learn more than AI generated videos. Basically, they learn the same if we measure in terms of outcome, in terms of exam score. Now, that's interesting. It basically means, yes, we can probably be replaced, all of us. Okay, there's of course a few things we can discuss here. But here's the conclusions then from our study, and I'm happy to go into detail and discuss with you afterwards. First, AI, and this is last year. ChatGPT 3.5 was well capable of generating teaching videos as long as it was a little bit curated with a human hand, as you saw that we did. And AI generated videos could be made in a small fraction of the time that we made human made videos. Now, you are right. On average, students perceive human made videos to be statistically significant better or more enjoyable. But the effect size is very small. All videos, AI videos are perceived to be about 4% worse, if you want to look at the statistics, than the average. 4%, it's not radical. It's not a very, very clear winner here in favor of the human. Third, AI or human-generated video makes no statistical difference in students' exam score. Of course, as we know as scholars, you have no statistical difference, can be maybe explained by other things, but we have done the study we've done. We've included controls. I think it's a fair treatment. And what we for sure can say, it's not so clear that the human-generated videos are better. Absolutely not. Students apparently learn just as much from the AI video as the human-generated videos, at least in our design. And statistical differences per topic going both ways in favor of AI humans. So this is a little bit of a nuance. When we start to look into the different 4 videos, some of the human-generated videos kind of outperform AI. And that can be the speaker, or it can be the topic, or it can be the visuals. We don't know. We didn't test that. We look across all videos together. Now, what does it mean? If you're a teacher, you better get ready to be disrupted by future AI teachers in one way or another. That's what I have for you, Bartolomé, and I'm happy to engage a discussion with your audience.
Okay, so first thing that I was thinking about was the fact that you mentioned that there's a 4% difference, and when you compare the time you are spending on preparing those AI-generated videos is like 12% in comparison to others, because you mentioned that this is 3-4 days, probably 3-4 days with 8 hours of working. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're
So
absolutely right.
it's around the 12%. Yeah. So this is cool.
But there's a few things to, from my side, so okay, now we've done this and we see that the videos work, but in fact I still don't give the AI generated videos to my students because I have maybe a little bit ethical concerns, or I know that the human generated videos are still better perceived, or I feel it's actually the job of the teacher to teach, so there's a lot of these questions. But maybe as AI develop, these things are going to come independent of what we as teachers do. And that's what I mean by we have to get ready by being disrupted. If we don't do it, someone else will do it to us. And then, so you decide if you want to have your AI avatar or someone else's.
Yeah, that's true. As a matter of fact, I have questions regarding that, because the problem of the time consumption. You mentioned that when you are preparing those videos with the use of ChatGPT 3.5, you had to spend some time on checking those mistakes. And you mentioned that there were only some of those mistakes.
Yeah.
What do you mean by some? How many % of those scripts needed to be adjusted or corrected?
Very, very little. Very little. But now we have to also remember, I'm talking about 4 or 5 minute teaching videos on quite well-defined concepts. Okay, so what does it mean? If you teach economic order quantity, a mathematical formula, well-established literature, internet is correct about it. Okay, so the average of internet is able to create a script that makes sense. If you are teaching philosophy, you will perhaps have a little bit of a harder time, not to just get nonsense. So it depends a lot on what you're teaching as well. Or if you're teaching very, very, state-of-the-art techniques in chemistry or biology, maybe the average of internet is also just nonsense or outdated. So
Okay.
it depends a lot on the type and topic that you are teaching, I believe.
What about math? Because you mentioned that AI is not good at solving mathematical problems, or rather even showing or adjusting mathematical equations.
Yeah.
Do you think the math would be also a problem, just like the philosophy?
Depends, So of course, yes, it's struggle with equations, it's struggle with the logic, I think, that is behind math still and presented. But of course, you can use it to teach 1 + 1 and 4 × 4 and all that stuff, right? So that's not a problem. Regressions, it can very beautifully explain how this work, because the average of internet gets these things right, in my view.
But what about the equations? You showed that
No,
some specific equations needed to be adjusted or corrected.
Yeah, but that's how DALL-E work and how these things work. They were just not able to replicate that at all, because these generative AI algorithms basically coming up with a new figure every single time. In this case, what you would like it to do is to really just replicate the formula, right? And first of all, maybe you don't need Gen AI for that, but also the developments over the last year. I think it still struggles with math, but it's getting there.
Okay. So I also mentioned when I'm playing, let's say, with those AI, I noticed that when I'm trying to prepare the picture or the photo or something like that, or the graph, they are making a lot of gibberish and nonsense.
Yeah.
But when I'm using ChatGPT, it's going quite smoothly. So probably that's why those
correct.
Those equations are a problematic thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Bartolome. Let me show you something for the fun of it, because you couldn't see it now. I went too fast through the video, but this is a picture from the TRIS video. If you look at that, in the video, you say, okay, you don't notice. It's flashed for a few seconds. But if you start to look closer at it, as I think you do now, you can see where the state of the generative AI video or photo kind of quality was last year, and you see errors, of course. Look at these arms. Look at this. Look at this head.
The stretches. Yeah.
Look at this.
Even
head.
those puzzles. Yeah, and the hair.
Puzzles
Yeah.
are weird. They don't fit. And look at this lady, 3-armed lady. Okay, so you can see here it's just completely weird. But actually, the fun thing is, if you just watch the video, you probably wouldn't notice because your brain is interpreting the picture as if there's normal. But that was just a fun example of the state of image generation last year. This year is much better already. So
Yeah, that's true. To think is to simplify the concept. So when we are just watching the video and trying to simplify everything that we are trying to learn, it's easy to to skip that problem. I of course encourage other people to ask any questions or ask them on chat if you do not have the space to ask them directly via microphone. I can read them out loud, but I still do have some questions. So regarding those technical differences, you mentioned that you needed those 3-4 days of intense work when you were preparing your videos. But I have this technical question. Have you used some stock short videos or stock pictures, or you prepared everything by yourself? This is a question regarding the time consumption of preparing such videos, because I saw in those videos that you showed prepared by real human beings, by people, I thought that some of those pictures might be downloaded or something like that, or you did everything by yourself. How was it?
Of course we used stock photo. Yes, you're absolutely right. So we subscribed to something called Envato, which I found relatively if not cheap, at least reasonable, because Adobe Stock and these things are just unreasonably priced in my view. So we use that, and so in these videos you can see also here on the screen there's a lot of video or pictures, and then basically also if you move photos around you get some kind of a cinematic effect. So all of these things are from stock. Not all, but most of these things are from stock material. Yes, exactly.
Okay, but if you were preparing those videos made by AI, all the pictures and videos were AI generated. Was that right?
That's correct. Absolutely everything. Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes searching for a photo, the illustration or video you want on stock material, it takes hours, because you want to say, this is the message I want to send, right? Like just this is all you can see, screws and stuff like this for 5S. This is then a photo that has been, we searched for, and maybe you used an hour to find that one, and maybe it's still not the perfect one. So and with generative AI, you just basically ask what you want and you get it. Not perfectly, but at least much
more or less perfect.
Yeah, and almost free compared to some of these things.
Yeah, this is the concept that you can. You mentioned that at the beginning. You can obtain 80% of the effect with the 20% of the time. If you are a human being, you probably want to do it as good as possible, the best possible way. That's probably why we people are spending so much time on choosing the best possible stock picture while we are preparing those. But when you were preparing those videos from AI, you weren't spending so much time on it. Is that right? Okay, so just generate, and the first shot was the shot.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Or 2 shots then if it was completely off. Yeah, so that's correct. Okay. You spend much less time. But now, of course, maybe that's also why you see these pictures you see at the back here fit maybe the context a little bit better and all these things. But the question is, does that time spent, pay off in terms of learning experience and learning outcome, which are the 2 things we should really care about?
Yeah, we were talking about this enjoyability of those movies. Do you think if you would spend a bit more time than 4 hours on preparing those AI generated videos, just to prepare a bit better AI generated pictures, not the first or the second shot, but the 10th or the 12th shot.
Yeah.
Would that influence the enjoyability of the video? What do you think about that?
I am pretty sure that will happen. You know this what's it called, Grok, this Elon Musk type of generative AI, which is supposed to also be funny or have humor or satire, and that may of course go completely wrong. But if it works, then it's of course it's more funny to watch. The development speed of generative AI, video, pictures, text, it's very fast. So you could see here what we could produce a year ago. Definitely not perfect, and you can tell immediately AI. But this year already difficult. What will it be next year? What about 2 years from now? So it is an interesting time to be a teacher, because it may be, in 2-3 years from now, our industry is completely changed.
Yeah, that's true. And I have another question regarding those technical issues. You mentioned that this is around 4 hours of human work. How much of it was assembling of video by Katie that you mentioned? Yeah. Because this is 4 hours of not only of your work, but the human work.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like
okay.
Yeah, sure. So you say we want to have a video on 5S. So I go in ChatGPT and prompt, make me a 5-minute video on 5S, and maybe please make sure to cover aspect 1, 2, 3, maybe, all right? And then it generates the text.
That's 5 minutes, maybe 2.
The maximum 5 minutes. Okay. And maybe it's an extra prompt, 10 minutes. You take that text, and then you will put it into this movie that we used, and upload the picture of. So you need a picture of me. Oh, I already have on my computer. Put this into the audio generating software, and it takes maybe 10-15 minutes, and then you have a generated video. Maybe, but with a green screen at back. Okay, and now it's over to Kata. So then you can understand the amount of involvement of myself, for example. In between there, I read the script to make sure it makes sense. That's important to notice. And then she will use the prompts that she has there to, generate the photo, generate the background, put it together, and then it's done. So that's what we say, maximum 4 hours. You could make this thing in an hour if you want to, or less.
So probably most of the time is consumed just for building the video on the Adobe Prime. Am I understanding that correctly?
You are answering it perfectly correctly in our case. But recall as well, today there is generative video software that can generate a complete video for you with a prompt, and you get a 5-minute video, something. Okay, so we also tested this, but that was too far away from these human-made videos. So if we are going to compare it in an experimental setup, we wouldn't know what elements, are really, we needed them to be comparable. We needed them to cover roughly the same content. We needed the exam to be, so that's why we decided to have this human in the loop type design, which still, of course, maybe makes sense after all. Yeah. But if you want, you can generate teaching videos in 3 minutes. It's just that they will not be very good.
Yeah. Can those be called teaching videos, or just a gibberish video? Yeah. So you are talking about today's state of art. Yeah. I mean about those. Okay. So they are still not perfect, or not even good enough to teach.
Yeah, I think so.
You still have to give at least an hour of your work, at least 4 hours of your work to prepare a video. And how long such a video would be? I saw that there were like more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is for
4 hours.
Yes, correct. That's for the experiment. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Maximum 4 hours. Remember, it's a maximum 4 hours. One thing that is important to notice is that we wanted to have that avatar, that human-looking avatar in the video. You don't need to. You can also just have an animation, right? And that you can already generate good videos with only animation in a few minutes with generative AI software.
Okay. Next question is regarding that have you checked those controls? You had the slide at the bottom. You were showing those controls that you made. For example, you checked the level of the education of the people who are writing those tests.
Yeah.
I suppose that if they are, I know that they were holding some studies regarding that, they were probably a bit better. Have you maybe checked what is the difference? I mean, do people with a higher education or the directly educated in the field are perceiving those AI videos better than people who are not educated in the field?
Yeah.
Educated in the field?
No, good questions. It made me have to put up my paper and look at the statistics. So that's good, very good reviewer. Look, so what I can see is that on the learning type, no, let's take educational level first, since that's what's asked for. And there's not really strong statistical significance differences on the learning type. Remember as well, we have MTurk participants, like these gig workers. Maybe they are a little bit from the same, there's not a lot of medical doctors who's on this MTurk.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just to recall that.
This is a specific group of people.
Yeah, what's it all? But if we look at topic familiarity, because that's the kind of, I think that's also where the question, if you know something about this topic, I can see that if you are familiar with the topic, you tend to evaluate AI worse. Okay, it's still, that's statistically significant, with not a very strong, but still it's a significant effect. So if you're familiar with the topic, you prefer the human even more, which I guess is good for humans. Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is that then the video would be rated less than 4%.
Correct.
Okay, so
correct, and then it drops. So the human is preferred even more if you're more familiar with the topic. In our study, I have to always add
okay,
that.
so you are talking, the question that were out there on the slide was AI bias, yeah? You're talking about this one.
Okay, so that's then
because you were also talking about this AI bias, and this is particularly interesting. If people who are, let's say, enthusiasts of the AI ways of solving problems, are they teaching better, or they are perceiving those videos are better prepared or the same as human?
So here
is this 4% valid?
Yeah, sure. So here I can give you the answer. That's completely non-statistically significant. There seems to be no difference in our sample. Remember, we have a MTurk sample. This is quite early in the whole ChatGPT. This is March, April last year. So many people maybe hadn't really gotten to know more. Today it's a little bit different, I think. So anyway, the answer to the question is there's no statistically difference in our data set, whether or not you're optimistic or pessimistic about AI. You learn just as much.
Just as much. Okay, so not comforting for us, I mean for the teachers, because probably, but still, do you personally perceive the AI as a threat or rather as a tool?
Yeah, I'm not so afraid. No, first of all, I'm using it, so it's pretty obvious that I'm trying to use it as a tool. And I already revealed, I have tested this tool, and I still rely on myself. But maybe that is that I'm fooling myself and some self bias that I think I can do it better than AI. What I definitely see is that in a couple of years ahead, let's see. You can imagine MIT or Harvard or somebody coming up with some Gen AI videos on our topics, whatever you teach, and they are just brilliant. Why would people go to your class? So that's what I mean. We need to rethink a little bit how we teach, flipped classroom stuff, motivation, inspiration, case examples. I think we all need to become a little bit more unique, because if you just teach the same as everybody else, there will be an AI that can do that better than you.
Okay, or at least faster, much faster than you. Yeah, those 12% of the time is astonishing, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Okay, and another question for you. You are still using those AI systems, but what do you think about classes that are generally held inside, I mean face-to-face, some laboratories and stuff, because out there, AI might also be a tool. What do you think about that? Do you think that, because you just touched the subject, that maybe we will be disposable, because AI might give us really great videos. But what about classes that, I don't know, chemical laboratories, physical laboratories, mechanical laboratories?
Yeah.
Do you think those might be supported by AI?
Yeah, is that pretty clear? Because, you know, you can imagine, I mean, of course, the classroom is not going to go away, right? And I already mentioned in more management classes, we don't have the laboratories as you have. You know, you still come to class, but maybe do more discussion, more reflection, more all that stuff. But let's go to the laboratory. Maybe now you have laboratory assistants and you have standard procedures of how to do things. Of course, you can have a Gen AI assistant that, you know, talks you through the experiment, help you interpret the results, write up the report, of course. Yeah, so it will be there too. At our end, we work on another AI project, which I didn't intend to talk about today, but this gives me at least an opportunity to mention it. You know, so we actually, if you look at this last video here, slide here, we have this book, 800 pages, 800 pages book that I've been. What student in the world reads 800 pages today? Very few. There are very few dedicated people. Now, can we use AI to help students read a book or an article better? And that's another project we're doing right now, of which there will be a kind of a platform with an AI assistant that tracks what you have been reading, and then ask you questions based on what you've been reading. And depending on maybe on how you answer these questions, it will suggest what you should read afterward. So more personal learning experience, more interactive learning experience, trying to drag students into actually consuming a thing like an 800-page book.
Okay, so this is literally a private teaching assistant. Am I understanding that correctly?
Private reading assistant.
Reading assistant.
Yeah,
okay.
reading.
Okay.
Because we think reading will still remain important, but at least in my experience, it's hard to get students to sit down and read a lot of long text. So we need to think about how we can support that.
Okay, I just noticed on the chat that Małgorzata have just generated her first video in AI, so probably this is manageable.
Minutes.
Yeah, you just inspired people.
Look at this. What video? Let us know about which tool was used.
Okay, we can wait for the answer, but while waiting for the answer, I wanted to touch the subject of those laboratories and stuff. Probably you heard about this new version of ChatGPT 4.0.
Yeah.
So do you think that such tools might be useful in as an assistant in laboratories or in doing exercises at the universities?
Yes, it will come. Of course, it will come. But you know, that Aurel kind of talked about this as an assistant, help you go through, analyze, and all these things. But maybe more interesting in that area is kind of more virtual laboratories, right? And then people talk about metaverse and stuff. So there's a physical laboratory, fine. But what if there's also a virtual laboratory looking like the physical laboratory? You walk in there, you can do your experiment. Everybody can be at the same time because you're only in your space. If you mess things up or, you know, you do an explosion or something, who cares? It's just a virtual environment. Nobody died. You know, so it's, I think that's almost a bigger potential. That, however, includes, of course, more technology than just AI. That's a lot of IT development and computing power and stuff.
Okay, so we are probably saying that that might be very powerful tool when we are talking about the beginners to avoid the problem of, you know, blowing out the whole university. What about the situation of experienced people when they have to, for example, master students, they have to be at least a semi-proficient, an average proficient with some very expensive equipment, like, I don't know, chemistry, gas chromatographs, I don't know, ICP-MS systems, tandem mass spectrometers and stuff. Those are very expensive equipments, and in some cases at some universities there are situations when the university has like, I know, 1 or 2 such equipments.
Yeah.
What then?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not an AI evangelist. I have to say, because maybe it seems like, ooh, AI. No, of course not. I'm just showing tools that exist. And I also told you I'm not using it. I'm just playing with it. Two important, very important things to remember. But because what you say, of course, you can have AI, you can have video, almost video control, right? Or stop, you shouldn't, don't touch that button, and everything can be programmed in a way to guide the user through this equipment, and then you can use it safely. But then the question is, what do you learn, right? So we know from research in management and use of AI in professional settings, in hospitals and things like this, that AI surely can help you become more effective, but maybe also turn your brain off, so you learn less. You get dependent on the technology, right? And so that there are many problems that are still unsolved in terms of actually going full in and using these technologies in your lectures in class and stuff like this.
Okay, so now we smoothly went to those drawbacks of AI teaching or learning. What do you think is the biggest problem in here?
Oh, the problem, of course, is that I think I already mentioned it's like you don't learn anymore. Okay, but it's like you become like Google Maps. Use everybody. Oh, it's super easy.
Laziness of the brain, yeah.
Yeah, laziness of the. It's still a good tool. Nobody would like to give it away, and it guides you better than what you could do before. But then, if you then just dumped out in the wilderness without and a map and a compass, you just be lost. Okay, and then of course, for many cases, that's okay. We don't need to know how all technologies work. But in the area of knowledge development, state of the art, what we are basically doing at the university, you better know what you're doing, right? Otherwise, you cannot explain why. You cannot explain why. And if you can't explain why, you will end up just, you could be easily replaced. So yes, sure, there's all these problems.
Okay, I have one more question regarding those AI classes, AI laboratories, I mean the virtual spaces. I know that you, because I saw that, I know that you have prepared such tools to show people how some places are working. Yeah, I'm making it simple. And how much time, if I can ask you for answering the question, how much time do you need to prepare such a virtual space for the students to learn?
Okay, so there is, of course,
that's a huge question.
No, it's a very clear question, but there's you can make it. It's a simple virtual version, and the one I mentioned, where you go into a laboratory and you touch things and the physics and there's all these things work, that's a computer mayhem, right? That's an enormous resource. I have no idea how to make that. But what I did was basically just going into a factory in ours and just do 360 video recording. Okay, that you can do, and we did in a day. Now you take that material, we come back to the office, we use 360 video editing software, we stitch it together, and we have this virtual 360 environment where students can walk in with their own phones and using this type of cardboard. That is done. You can do for a lab. You can do in a week. Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you can start to touch things virtually. That's one thing is to make a virtual environment. Another thing is to interact with it.
Okay. So to make the answer fully clear for everyone, you mentioned that this is one day, but this is one day for preparing the video and the space.
Yeah.
What about the amount of work that you need to put inside that video to prepare the virtual learning space? Because preparing just the space is, let's say, simple.
Yeah.
But preparing the virtual space to learn, to click on everything with descriptions, to check what is happening, to collect some points on stuff. This is a hard work. As you said, computer mayhem.
Yeah, sure. I understand your question. I'm not sure if the audience does, because you've seen this VR experience. So the answer to your question is 3 months with 2 student assistants working part-time, and then the company that is participating and myself doing like agile type. Every 2 weeks it's presented, we give feedback, here's the content, and then the students go back and work. And after 3 months, we had a working prototype for the virtual VR environment you're talking about.
Okay, have you used AI tools to improve that process?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so
maybe
still,
I should. I don't know.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Okay, so still, it feels like there is still hope for us.
Oh yes, there's still lots of hope. Yeah. I didn't mean to leave on a negative note, not at all. But these tools are coming. I think important, just science is about being curious and testing out things, and that's the important thing I think now for lectures. So you are prepared for what is coming, and there is the real risk. I think if you're teaching average things like everybody else. Yep, maybe you have to figure out a way to. Yeah, maybe. So, we often in higher education, we talk about research-based teaching. That's pretty good because now suddenly you can start to teach the things that you're doing research on. And then usually it's very few else in the world that is doing exactly the same as you. So I think that's going to be more important.
There is, if you still have some time, there is one additional question written in Polish, but I would like to translate it on time. So is there any tool that you would recommend for creating those videos? So for now, people found Synthesia, Pictory, Lumen 5, or ChatGPT. Are there any others you would recommend for people to test?
So I don't remember, to be honest, in the moment, but if you put this into Google, you get like 20, 30, and every of them, of course, have solved everything, and it's a click of a button and it works. So
you don't have your favorite tool?
No, not really. We use this Movio. It worked pretty well because we got that avatar thing. And then they use ChatGPT as everybody else, but you can use some of the other things that is coming out now. Yeah, so no, not really. And the point is, even if I recommended something next week, there will be another tool that somebody launched somewhere in the world, so it will be online.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably at the current time, this is the fastest developing thing around the world. Yeah, I mean the AI. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, since we are talking a bit longer than an hour for now, so and there are no other questions from the audience, and my questions are also depleted. So I would like to, at the end, I would like to thank you again, and I hope that we will also have time next time within a year or maybe more. We will test some more things. Our reality will change again after implementing and testing of those ChatGPT 4.0 or others, and we will have another opportunity to meet again and discuss those AI-based subjects and others.
Okay, looking very much forward to it. So have a nice weekend, everybody in Poland and elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. That was very curious. Yeah. I was enjoying the whole meeting. Thank you, Torbjörn.
So your learning experience was good then, but maybe we don't know about your learning outcome. It's for you to prove.
Okay. Yeah, we should write the test at the end.
Or go ahead and make a video.
Yeah, I try. That might be a good idea. Maybe even as a hobby.
Okay, everybody, have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.